For about $1 a day, this new company will ship you compostable zipper bags and
Buddy. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. I don't know. Um, all right. Hold on. Let me. Can I? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I feel like I'll have to be a little bit quiet for just a moment. Um, oh wait, no. All right. So we're back. We're back, of all things. Uh, fucking asshole. Wait, never mind. Oh wait, hold on. I wanted to check something out. Oh, I see. All right. Let me just... Ooh. Okay, hold on. Let me pull something up. I want to talk a bit about a few things. Maybe. Okay, hold on. Bum. Oh, that's interesting. All right. All right, sorry. I should be fine now. All right. Let's talk. All right. So, today's plan, like I said yesterday night, um, due to my Friday mornings always being busy, I wasn't able to look for any more hair tutorial style videos. Um, So I don't have anything to go off of. I do have a backup though. I will attempt to make the hair using spheres, specifically the quad sphere. I've never used this quad sphere for some reason. I don't know why. Whenever it came to using spheres, I always for some reason defaulted to using UV spheres, but I like the look of quad spheres a lot more. Um it just looks better in my opinion. Um so we'll do that probably in a little bit. As for this sort of texture painting and shaders parts of I guess what I can do, um I did look up the video. There is a video going over everything that there is to do with material nodes in the sort of shader screen. I only got to like 12 minutes out of the 28 minutes. It is a very short compared to like what I thought it would be. But it's kind of like a basis to start off with, and then I could probably branch off from what I saw in the video and try to attempt to do some things. I'll probably try to find another video that kind of, I guess, tries to make like practical use out of the different material nodes. Some notable things I looked at or that caught my attention were I think it was something, hold on, it's right here. Um, Something in the texture coordinates. I believe it was I think it was the window part. The way it moved, it reminded me of Chowder, the old kids cartoon, where the clothing was sort of, I don't know how to explain it. It looked like it was a cutout, and then the background would move, or the cutout would move, and so the clothing seemed to like move when the character moved in a sort of way. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, I thought that was cool. I feel like that could be used for a bunch of things. Um, there was some other stuff. I believe there was a way to make an object basically act as if it was an alpha mask. I think that's what he called it, which means that if you turn on transparency in the render, it would be transparent, which sounds really cool. I feel like there's a lot you could do with that. Um, oh, sorry. So yeah, like I said, I only got around like a little bit under halfway through the video, so there's definitely more I want to look at on that. I might even watch it on stream, depending on how the hair part goes. Uh, just so that I have something to try out. Uh, just to let you know, uh, I will probably be stopping the stream a little bit early. Um, Usually I go on until 8, but I'll probably need to stop maybe like 2 hours earlier, around 6, because I have to go do something. So this one isn't going to be a long one, but I do want to attempt making the hair with a sphere, and I might also, I don't know, play around with shaders and stuff. Um, when it comes to shaders, um, or rendering, I mean. Oh yeah, it is shaders, but the rendering also plays an important part. I feel like um, the cycles way of rendering, I don't really understand it if I'm being quite honest. So I mostly stick with Eevee because it's just like the easiest thing to work with. Um, but I'll have to see as well. They each have the pros and cons. I know they do. 50 great British pounds. Ew, what? Ew. Sorry. Mm. Oh, okay, that's not bad. Oh, I mean, it is really bad, but whatever. Okay. So, what else did I want to talk about? When it comes to Blender, oh, that's right. I remember now. So I wanted to show off sort of like some, ever since I talked about me wanting to figure out a sort of style that I like, a style that sort of pops out and looks cool. I've been getting a lot of cool looking styles pop up on my For You pages, strangely enough, of course, obviously. And I found this person. I want to show him off because I think his art is generally cool. I remember seeing one of his works a long time ago. Well, not that long ago, maybe like a month ago. But here we go. So I can't zoom into any of these because I'm not logged in. Um, but these are 3D. These are Blender. These are made in Blender. But they look like they're colored in like a Crayola chalk maybe type of style. It looks really cool, methinks. Another thing, this is the thing that I saw a while ago, the Parappa the Rappa. This one's actually pretty cool because it's animated. The board, I believe, is 3D, but everything else is 2D. I don't know what he used to make that, but he's a pretty cool artist. Um, I saw this little guy on my For You page, and I realized he was a actual 3D model. And yeah, just like looking at this kind of stuff is like really, really cool, really inspiring to try different things. But yeah, Bryson McBee, cool shit. So yeah, basically what I wanted to show, just sort of like give an idea of like cool aesthetics, I guess, or styles that look really cool. In terms of things you could do in Blender, you know? There's also another one, but I think it was on TikTok. I don't know if I could show it or even find it. I forgot. But it's just, I just like stylized, I guess. I don't really know how to even describe it, what I'm looking for. I just want it to look cool. And that's subjective to me, which is why it's hard to explain. So anyway, let's just continue. So yeah, the only things that keeping us from attempting to make these characters heads is I need to get better at hair. Um, I need to find a workflow slash sort of method that I like and that I think looks good. Um, which has been tricky for me at least. And then obviously texture painting. I want to see how people do their texture painting. I need to see more. I think a good way to look for this kind of stuff is to see some time lapse videos where people make shit in Blender. And then for shaders, I feel like you could do a lot with shaders. Um, sure, you can add like all the detail on a texture painting, and I am leaning towards doing that, but I also want to add a bit more flair and effect, and a lot of that can be done, maybe, I don't know, again, I'm still watching the video, in shaders. And even if the shaders can't help me make just like a basic model, shaders could still help me in cases where I want to make like an animation uh, and stuff like that. So yeah, some things that I've been thinking about is okay. Today I made a TikTok account, uh, specifically with my name of the channel on it. I think it's very and I haven't posted anything on it, by the way. I just part of me wants to be really good and post like things such as like some little animations or something um relating to popular memes at the time. I feel like that's I feel like kind of I feel strangely like an old person talking about this, but it's good for like brand visibility or whatever, getting people to watch your stuff. Uh, because the only people who are gonna watch me right now, for the most part, are people who like Blender, care about that stuff. And I think it'd be cool to branch out a little. But then I also have the crushing feeling that I am not good enough for, or at least decent enough, competent enough, I guess the word would be, to really build up on that. Hold on. Hmm. Oh, whoops. What am I saying? And it's not only that, uh, it's very time consuming. It's like wanting to do everything. Like, I want to take some time to make some sort of like improve the stream a little bit by adding like some sort of overlay, maybe an offline screen, a few extra bits and bobs to make the stream interesting. Um, and then I also want to make things people will want to watch in a way. And I didn't realize before starting this how overwhelming it all could be. Like I deadass thought I could save my VODs and then at some point come back to them and make like a time lapse. But those things that would take super long, and I don't know how to edit. So yeah, I'll take it one step at a time. Right now, step one, get better at making faces. Okay, and then I also thought about how I don't just want to make people. I know I'm heavily focusing on that right now because I don't know, I have a lot of ideas of characters that I want to make, not just characters that I like from like video games or like anime and stuff, but also just like characters that I've thought of myself that I thought would be cool to make. Um, uh, and you know, not all of them are humanoid-esque. You know, I think I guess it also dives into the marketability thing. I think I would like to make an avatar of myself. Not, but when I think of making an avatar for myself, I don't think of making like a human version of myself. Uh, Usually when it comes to, especially, I realized this when I was playing. I'll start working while I talk. Otherwise, I'm just gonna stand here and not do any work. Um, when I was playing VR chat, I gravitated more towards towards the sort of not humanoid, not really realistic characters. Just because I just thought they were, oh shit, there we go. I just thought they were cooler. And I mean, I could use the goblin, but at the same time, it's not mine. I know I've made costumes for it, and I've even made an animation for following for it. But it's not my character. Uh, I hmm. Okay, that's weird. Sorry. And so if I were to make a mascot, I would want to sort of make it myself. And so I should think of a character to make. It's kind of like how maybe this is kind of a weird analogy. It's kind of how like artists and even like writers have sort of like a character that represents them and is sort of like a stand-in for them in a way. But then the thing is, I don't want to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not looking to like be a VTuber or anything like that. I'm perfectly fine making models for VTubers. But then how else am I supposed to show myself? Is the big question after that. If I don't want to be a VTuber, how do people see me? Okay, how do I do this? I'm trying to think, sorry. I also probably could have reduced the amount of vertices when I spawned this in. I might even start again. Hold on, let me see how it looks like. If I were to decrease the subdivisions a little bit. Okay, that's maybe a little too much. Okay, I think that's a little better actually. But yeah, like I'm saying, I need to think of a character. Not a character per se, but sort of an idea of what of what would represent me the best. So I have to see. I have to think. Because then once I come up with a character and I make them, then I could actually start sort of branding myself a little bit. But yeah, I'll have to see. I need I need more time to think. The problem that I have at least, um, is that I'm not a 2D artist at all. I have no experience. I've never drawn. Uh, I don't want to say professionally. It doesn't really matter, honestly. I mean, I haven't even modeled professionally either. I kind of just like picked this whole thing up as a hobby, I guess you could say. Started it just for the fun of it, because I thought it'd be cool to learn Blender and stuff like that. I always thought it was cool when well, I don't know. Ever since I was very young, I I initially thought I wanted to be an animator, and obviously I quickly realized that to be an animator, you kind of need to learn how to draw. And like I said, I'm not a good artist. And I was a little bit intimidated by the idea of like having to start to learn. You know what I mean? Like I probably could have learned. It's not like good. I don't even like that, do I? Yeah. I was very much intimidated by the idea of having to spend a lot of my time learning something that I didn't even think I would actually use ever in my life. Because it's one thing to like want to animate, and it's another thing to actually take the time to do it. Especially since animation, I did realize early on the animation was really hard. For a multitude of reasons, you know. It's very time consuming. It's you need to know a lot of things about a lot of other things. And yeah, I think the thing that inspired me, oh shit. Okay, that's bad. Hold on. What inspired me the most to want to learn how to animate was um oh shit. Was the It's kind of funny, but it's kind of the the stickman animations. Where is that good? I don't think I like that either. Um, the stickman animations, the ones where they'll fight. Kind of reminds me also of the old I guess, I guess it is animation, but back in the day, I also used to watch a lot of Lego animations. 'Cause I thought it was cool. But that's more like stop motion animation. Um, and so yeah, and then I ended up giving up. I made a stickman do a flip on one of my old laptops. Um, for some reason, and then I was like, yeah, this is too hard. And so yeah, and now I'm back here again. I'm back doing another thing that is artistic and requires animation. I kind of loop it back into it for some reason. I could edit this side view later. I'm just trying to get this right. But yeah, I always wanted to do something artistic. Fuck. Um, but wait a sec. What I was saying? Yeah. Um, it was very daunting though, the idea of it. But I find doing 3D models is a little bit different to drawing. It still requires a bit of I guess, how do I like that? I don't know how I feel about that. We'll put a mirror modifier, I'll make it a lot easier for me, I think. So yeah. It still requires a lot of time, this. Whoops. I'm trying to think how I display this exactly. Hold on. Fuck. So yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But then I run into the problem where think it's a little better. Maybe, maybe it's slower. Hold on, let me make this smooth. That look better? I think it does. But yeah, let me put a subject surface. I'm gonna have to see what I can do. I think I should definitely try to spend more times in the morning trying to do those things. The thing is, I think I can't do anything right now in the mornings, that is. Due to the fact that I have to uh look stuff up for the practice that I'm doing right now. I think afterwards, after I'm done needing to look stuff up, specifically for stream, I can start working on instead looking stuff up to do stuff off stream and working on stuff off stream. Um, Things that like I don't know, don't really matter too much, maybe in the grand scheme of things. Things like working on overlays and other things. Try to make some memes. I think I wanna my goal, or not my goal, but my what the hell? Oh. My sort of strategy when it comes to these sorts of things, and it kind of doesn't work too well, if I'm being quite honest. my sort of strategy usually revolves around the idea that um sorry um that I should accumulate a bunch of things that I think would make that would do good in the sort of algorithm, I guess, and then post them, like have everything ready and just sort of like post them as time goes on. I think that's what I did back when I started posting stuff on my Twitter. I would be prepared with certain things to show. But like I said, that's not really the best thing to do, especially when it comes with like trying to, I guess, get in while strike while the iron's hot. When it comes to memes and stuff. Oops. But yeah, it it kind of all compacts in a weird way. Where it's like you know what would make it very easy to make memes if I had a character. Um, sort of like mm, 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 mm. Hold on, I want to do something here. So yeah, I have to figure out how I wanna handle things moving forward. I definitely will figure it out at some point. I have to. Okay, it looks a little flat on the front, but that's because of the way I've layered out the hair in the back, or I mean in the on the side view. It doesn't shrink or grow. Or actually, I think it grows more than it shrinks. And it should shrink at some point. So it looks a little weird. Hold on. I'll be right back. Hello. Okay, sorry. We're back. Okay, sorry. Um, go. I'm really excited. I'm going on Tuesday to okay, should I I'm going to watch the FNAF movie uh with a sibling and a few friends, which I am excited about. Goofy. Oh, wait, hold on. How am I gonna do this? Na 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 na. I'm basically just freeballing it now, if I'm being quite honest. Oh wait, hold on. Let me do that on here. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope it's good. Um, I think I said this already. I hope it's good, and if it's not good, then at least I hope it's that kind of bad that is still pretty good for at least a little bit. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of it kind of feels weird to say this, but calling it scary in some way. It doesn't feel like I should. It feels more like a comedy to me, but I know that's just sort of memes have been popping up about it. Wait, what happened to the circle of the sphere? Was this one? No, it's not that. Where is it? Bang. Sha-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na. This is the only sphere I have, though. Huh. Wait, hold on. I didn't delete it, did I? Oh, shit, hold on. I should probably organize this a little better. It's kind of terribly organized. Is it cube? Oh, it is. Wait, what? It's called a cube. I mean, I understand why it's called a cube. The the sphere is basically just a cube with the surface on a bunch of times. Um, I still didn't expect though. All right, that's what I was thinking too. Whoops. But yeah, we'll see how it turns out once I actually start watching it. Wait, I think I messed something up here. Mm, 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 mm. Whatever. Mm, 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 mm. Um, where am I doing? Hmm. Yeah, the title initially said as I might do some cheeky reverse 1999 later, but that's definitely not happening. As I said earlier, I will end the stream probably around like 6:30 ish, since I have something to do. Uh, so yeah. As for Verse 1999, I've been enjoying it. Um, I have been playing the story offline. Sorry if you wanted to watch me play the story all the way through. I just couldn't wait. I'm being quite honest. And you have to play the story to unlock a lot of the other ways you could use sort of level up your character. If that makes any sense. So yeah, I've been playing it. I got really unlucky yesterday in terms of roles, I feel like. I don't know what to do next. Whether I should roll for the beginner banner and guarantee a 6 star that I know is going to be good, or if I should continue trying to get the healer, poison, damage dealer person. Decisions, decisions. But yeah, in the in my off time, I've been playing the game, trying to make sure that I use up all of my stamina so it doesn't end up going to waste, you know. But like I said earlier, you kind of need to complete some of the story so that you can unlock other ways to use your stamina that isn't just um the same one or two ways that you get really early on. Mm, 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 mm. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. to have. So yeah, like I'm saying, I've been enjoying it a lot. You know, it's always exciting to start a new game. And at the moment, I like the story enough and the characters enough that I might end up continuing with it. Sometimes certain gacha games start off really strong and then sort of plateau for me. So we'll see how it turns out. But so far, so good. It's a really cool game. I like the combat a bit. Trying to think. This kind of pops out, but I think there might be an issue with the head and not really an issue with the... I could always reshape the head. It's gonna be covered by the hair regardless, so it's not like it matters too much. I think I have enough for 220 pulls, I think. But yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if I should go for the guaranteed 6-star one, or if I should continue going for uh some other characters. I need to think about it. Decisions. Okay. Well, the general shape of the hair is not bad. It does look a bit goofy. Actually, it's fine. I shouldn't be too harsh on it. I got access to the wilderness thing. I think it's pretty cool. I still haven't been able to look up that one game that I was talking about. That reminds me of it. Um, because it is inspired by a game, I believe. The sort of ability to place down things. Yippee. Okay. But yeah. Alright, so how am I gonna do this? How do I want to do this? I could, classic mirror modify. All the shrimp girls, everybody knows. It's a praying mama down. What happened if you? Oh, that makes it really sharp. Oh, it kind of lines up actually. But yeah, the story. I got to the point in the story where it had this weird moment with an orange. Um, I was playing it at night, so I didn't have my headphones in. I occasionally play games without headphones on sometimes. So sadly I didn't actually get to hear the voice lines. But yeah, I got to like a point with oranges and stuff. Oh, what? Oh, never mind. But it's been pretty cool so far. It's really interesting, the story, it's I still don't know much of anything. I'm sure some nerd is gonna fucking make a video about it, going over how the story works or whatever, and I'm probably gonna watch it because that's what I do. And I'm probably gonna be like, oh, that's what's going on, and then I'll end up liking it a lot more. My biggest gripe with using sort of like flatness when making hair is I want to give it more volume by like adding a layer to it, but at the same time, I don't know if that like helps it at all, if it makes it ugly. Like this works fine, I think. I think the top layer maybe is a little bit protruding. It needs to flow a lot better. It needs to be a lot more flat. I think that's a lot better. Um, so yeah. Oh, today Topaz comes out, I think. I haven't been able to log in again because I said this morning I was busy. Uh, so I'll probably have to log in tonight, and by the time I log in, Topaz would be out. So that's cool. Hopefully I get her. Um, Usually when it comes to gacha games, what I like to do is I like to save up a lot, as much as I can. And then after, I feel like I've guaranteed myself a character. I let my little sister, do the rolling for me. Uh, and I make sure that I have enough so that I at least guarantee a good character. Uh, so that at the end of the day, um, she ends up rolling something good for me, and that makes her happy. And that makes me happy too. I didn't do that this time though with Reverse 999 because I did want to stream it. Uh, but hey, there might come a point where I might not stream it anymore, or I might not talk about it all that much. And at that point, I'll switch back to saving things up and then letting her roll for me. This is a bit difficult. I kind of want to match these up, but then it kind of messes a little bit with the topology. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I don't actually need this, do I? I could move this forward a little bit. Hold on. And then I could just... Oh, fuck. I did it wrong, my bad. But yeah. So hopefully I could get her to roll today for Topaz. And I hope I have decent luck and I could get her in not many rolls. But we'll see. And if I don't get her, then I hope I at least get Clara. So that I could at least work those two together in a way. I also wanna... Oh, also Gwenevin comes out. A fire dot damage dealer. I need to build her too. She seems interesting and fun. I like her ultimate with the little dog things. They look like dragons. I think that's a cool character design. Little dragon dogs. Um, yeah. I have her, and then I also wanna get. I think, do I have C4? I think I have C4 QQ actually. I would like her to get her to C6 so I could use her. She kind of does follow-up attacks. I think does that count as follow-up attacks? I need to check. I don't remember. Um, but she's good overall. I do want to build her some more. I stopped building her after a while because I thought she wasn't good. Because everyone said she wasn't good. And then everyone switched up on me and was like, she's actually amazing. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Why do you say that? Fuck you. You know what? Fuck you. You know what? Fuck you. But yeah. What else can I talk about? I just want to ramble today. Let's do a little cheeky rambling, shall we? Ramble sesh. I'm following a little bit. I'm trying to follow a little bit of the reference, but also doing my own thing. I guess I could probably also look at this. I could have looked at that the entire time. Though it's not a really good well, it kind of works, but it's not the best basis since the way they draw it, it makes it look like it's looking at you, the bangs, when it should like curve around the head. Remember seeing all right, never mind. I think I figured it out. All right, it looks good. All right, I'm gonna use this cut for two reasons. Number one, that might be too high. To separate this bang. And number two, to separate this one. You was breathless. Choose me side. I think one thing that I've seen is it's probably better to just use triangles instead of trying to you know, try to make your quads into triangles. It looks so silly. I wanna, like I said, it looks very flat. I wonder what I could do to make it look less flat. Alright. What else was I gonna say? So yeah. Um, I can't wait to roll. I love rolling, even though I'm not the type of person who would spend money on a gacha game. I still am a little bit addicted to rolling. Uh, but I feel it feels a lot better when you get something without spending money. Uh, just because it feels awful trying to spend for something and then with money and then not getting what you want. It's the contrast. So, my idea, methinks, whoops, is to try to add some volume myself. Oh my goodness. Oh, I know what happened. Wait, hold on. Yeah. I need to make it this. Just the edges. But then I run into the problem where I feel like adding volume to the flatness kind of makes it look a little weird in some aspects. Oh shit. Blender's gonna crash, isn't it? I don't know why it does this. I go into wireframe and then Blender crashes. I don't even feel like this Blender file is even that big or even that intensive for it to crash like that every time I try to. Or sometimes when I try to go into wireframe. It sucks, but what you're gonna do. Might be funny to put a counter of how many times Blender has crashed on me. It's probably not that much. Not that I even care, to be honest. I save pretty regularly, I think. Hugs and kisses. Wow. Okay, where was I? Oh, you seen how much changed? What the fuck did I just watch? Down. I thought it crashed again. I was gonna start laughing. Smiley face? Why are you smiling at me like that? Don't look at me with those eyes. Alright, I probably don't need this, honestly. I don't know why I had that open the entire time. I like how I said, I was going to attempt to make the hair using uh, a quad sphere, and then I immediately swapped back over to just using. I mean, I didn't even use a plane this time. I used a circle, not a sphere, and then I made it that way. It doesn't really matter as long as it looks good. However way I got to it, it doesn't. It's all good. What the fuck? Alright, hold on 1 second. Let me grab something real quick. Alright, sorry, I'm back. I just went to go get a charger for my phone, and usually when fuck, I usually just I took a little bit of time to stretch my back. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Alright, sorry. Let me continue with what I was doing. Let me check something real quick. Okay, never mind. Alright, so yeah, I try to add a little bit more volume by... I think what I should do is, I should like make these really small. Kind of like work my way up, if you know what I mean. What happens if I... Look up here. Oh my god. What the fuck? How nice. How funny. How sweet. How nice and funny and sweet. And lovely and whatever. How happens if I... Damn. I might not hate that. I don't know. Maybe it's too sharp, but I don't hate it. Lovely bits of water. Alright, let's... I'm gonna try to add, what the hell? I'm gonna try some volume here. Slowly work my way down. Oh, that's right. My bad. Alright. First things first. Let's link these two. Oh, okay, never mind. Oops, okay, bad idea. Okay, so that doesn't connect nicely. Um, these two would most likely connect. There we go, that looks a lot better. Whoops. Alright, so I want to reduce this. Goofy ass. I don't know why, but this hairstyle just like makes me think of nerds. You fucking nerd. Bum, 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 do, 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 do. Oh, what? Right there, yeah. Bum, ba, ba, da, 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 do, do. Na, 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 na. Banana, banana, bow. Hello, everybody. I'm Bretter. Alright. So yeah, I've flattened it down a little, or maybe a little bit too much, but I think it's fine. Banana, banana, go. I want to finish this, and I might step away for like a second to get something to chew on. If that makes any sense. So far I kind of don't hate it. Usually when it comes to trying out a lot of these methods of making hair, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But with this one, I mean, I could probably use some work. But overall, like, I don't hate it that much as like I thought it would. The way that I'm doing it is probably like a very slow, very tedious sort of way of doing it, but I think it's fine. I'm okay with certain things being a little tedious as long as the results are good, you know. If the results aren't good, then yeah, why are you being so tedious for? Shit. I was thinking. But it's ready. Sorry. My favorite part about the FNAF movie was when Freddy went, I feel a song coming on, and then they started dancing. I think that was my favorite part. Probably like my rendition of I don't know, some sort of song or something. I don't really care. Fuck you. Fuck you now, fuck you. I'll have to edit that, but that's fine. Alright. These ones connect nicely. Shit, fuck. I'm hitting the wrong keybind. My fault. Oh, I guess that's one thing I could talk about. The funniest thing about the actual FNAF movie is all the people trying to steal the. Oh shit. I might crash. Trying to steal the cardboard cutouts of the movie. It's so good. I love it so much. I don't think I'd ever do that, but hey, to each their own. It is FNAF. I do understand the hype, and I do understand the want to want to steal one of them. I probably wouldn't do it though. I would never, and I quote, steal the FNAF cardboard cutout. Smiley face. Shit. Alright, we're done. Oh wait, did I... I think that's much better. The other one was a bit too high. And this one might also be a bit too high too. But yeah, fun things to be excited about, you know? It's fun to be excited about something. Alright, final thoughts. I don't hate it. I'm not really sure what I did. I basically just did what I did the other times, but I don't know, spent a little bit more time making sure the volume is right, making sure the shape is right. So yeah, I don't hate this. Um, I feel like a lot of the detail is gonna come from the actual texture painting, but overall it has the shape. I think where I struggle on in terms of hair is when the hair is a lot more, I wouldn't say realistic, but it has a lot more strands. Like for instance, the Cosmo one that I had to do. The way the person um the way they did the art style, it meant that there was a lot of strands of hair, or it looks like there was a lot of strands of hair, and that's kind of hard to capture in this very basic style. Like, what? Whoa! What the fuck? How long has it been like this? What? Okay, this year I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not the proudest of how that hair turned out. This one, not much either. It's fine, I guess. But yeah, this one's a little better. And it'll probably look best if I do the backside, but I'm not gonna worry about that. I might though. I could deploy another circle. Uh, the UV circle this time since it's a ponytail almost. Is that a ponytail? Oh, well, it's kind of like, I don't really know what you'd call that. But the hair kind of scrunches up to it. And then it has a tie towards the end of the hair. But overall, my consensus. I don't know what I did different. Hold on, let me... kinda like yeah. Let me look at all the hairs that I've done. Okay, so this is the one that I probably feel the most okay with. Um, of course we have not the best hair TBH. Looks, which looks, wait, oh, sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. I was like, holy shit, that's the one I liked? That looks ass. Okay, this is the not the best hair TBH. Pretty much what I was doing here. The only difference is this one does not have the volume. I try to trick the volume by making sort of like bumping out the sort of middle strand. I thought it looked cool when I first made it, and I was like, yeah, this looks good actually. And then looking back at it, it's actually kind of ass. Obviously, this side wasn't done because I was just kind of, I wasn't feeling it, you know? You ever like start something, and then you're like, I don't like how this is turning out, and so you kind of like start to give up a little bit. That's how I feel here. What else do I have? I guess I also have the numb path hair. This one is a bit weird for multiple reasons. Number one, this was the one I made with curves, and then I try to combine the curves, which looks good in some areas. As you can see right here, it doesn't look like the best. That could easily be fixed by me just, you know, like bringing these a little forward. Uh, and yeah, the ends, they don't look the best. That's honestly, this is probably easy to be fixed by me just like combining these. Does bridge work? That might look better. I don't know. I might have to like reduce the overall volume. The volume is maybe a bit too big. But this is kind of decent, I guess. Whoops. I'm just not the biggest fan of using curves. Curves can look good. Curves can look cool in some areas, but I think when it comes to sort of like flat hair, um, you kind of, oh, sorry, it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit, or not be the best option, I think, and also just tedious to learn. I might actually look up some videos on how to better utilize curves. So I'll probably, so I could maybe like switch to them at some point. I'll see though. What else was I gonna say? Is there any other hairs that I made? Good try hair. What is this one? Oh, this is me trying to copy this. And I think it actually turned out pretty decently. But again, that's what I'm saying, not what anyone else would say. But yeah, I think that looks pretty, I think that's like, it looks more like this than it does this one, but I guess it's because it has a subdivision surface, I think. If I were to take it off, then I think it probably look a lot more like that. So yeah, that one doesn't really count because it's not really me trying to make that hair. I should probably make a scene of like parts that I like and parts that I don't like. And maybe separate the references too since I have so many. What else? I also need to rename some of these because they're kind of terribly named. Like what is plain? Oh, you see, that's what I mean. Plain is another attempt at me trying to make hair. This one, this one is literally this one, but with this one I took a lot more steps to make it look nicer. Make the hair look a lot rounder. Uh, yeah, I think I started with a circle on this one, I removed the point on top and then added loop cuts wherever I needed them, but it kind of ended up looking a little bit odd, methinks. Um, it was also weirdly like bumpy in some areas because of I wasn't really trying to smooth it out, and also the amount of topology that I used is just it's pretty bad. This one is I think is probably my best. But yeah, either the hairs, I'm gonna take you away because you don't count. I've tried with curves. I've tried it with a plane. This is plane method where I kind of made a bumpiness of it. Um, this is another circle one I didn't like. And this one I used oh, this is a sphere. Oh, this one's a sphere, this one's a curve plane. This is actually using a circle. But I feel like I spent a lot more time on this one, which is why it looks better than the other ones. But I also did it faster than the other ones, so I think that says more about it. Bum 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 bum. So yeah, I'll be right back. Now that I'm done with that, and now that I compared it a little bit, I still don't know how I feel about this method. Like I said, this method's good for so far for very smooth parts of hair. I don't know if this method's necessarily the best for the sort of, I guess I wouldn't want to say realistic, but there's definitely a lot more strands of hair. Uh, Whenever I think about a lot of strands of hair, I think more about the curve method than I do about this sort of, I don't know. I don't even know what I would call this. But yeah. It's still very different to what the reference image that I was looking at looks like. Not that I was trying to copy it or anything, but um, I would like to know how they do it. There's something about that hair. Like even like the low poly version that's not complete looks good. There's something about this that I don't know. It just looks good already. And then adding a subdivision surface and then all this detail. It just makes it look good. I can't explain it. There's something about this way this is made that screams good. I think these blue things are strands of hair, but they're just like really small. But then I don't understand what's going on here. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get something to chew on real quick. And once I come back, I don't know. I'm kind of done with the hair. I'm still gonna leave this here though, cause like I said, I'm not too confident about that method. I've used that method before many times. I just for some reason today I feel good about it. So this could still stay here because I honestly still need to get better with hair. I think I spelled lastly wrong. Um, Once I come back, I'll probably put the shader video that I was watching on, and we will watch the rest of it. I was on 12-minute mark, I believe, and there's 25 minutes. So I'll finish that, and then I'll spend some time. Oh shit, it's almost 6. It's fine. We still have plenty of time. And then I'll probably spend some time, I don't know, playing around with shaders. I'll probably also look at some time-lapse Blender stuff. Specifically from Shanzo. I want to see how he does his texture imaging, and I also look at other people's because I think that's very important. And I also want to look at the Genshin reference that I have, specifically the MMD, whatever that means. I definitely need to read up on what that does and how it works exactly. So yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Let me go find something to snack on, and I'll be right back. Bye. Bye 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 bye. All right, I'm back. Um, hee 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 hee. Like I said, we are going to watch the shader nodes, material nodes video. Uh, what's left of it at least. I don't know when I'm gonna have to dip, so that's why I'm kind of like treating it as if though we are at the end of the stream. Even though we could have like, I could have 10 minutes left. I could have 20. I could have 50. I don't know. So I'm trying. I'll try not to do too much. I do want to play around with shaders though. So let me pull the video up right now. Oh, it's already here. Never mind. Okay. So we'll be watching this video right here. This is the. Whoops, sorry. This is the all 80 plus Blender node material nodes explained in under 30 minutes by Daniel Craft. They have like 2 million subscribers. That's fucking crazy. Um, this was 3 years ago, by the way. So it's probably outdated. A little bit. Some they might have added a few more things. But yeah. So oh, you can see what I'm doing. I'm scrolling down, and I'm seeing, there's like a 1 hour video going over procedural nodes for beginners, 50 modifiers in 30 minutes, then the basic material shading in Blender Part 1, all codes, active codes, and big free-to-play tips, verse 1999. This one, I packed the Blender tips into one video. The only reason this one intrigues me is because the glasses. I've tried to make transparent looking glass stuff before, and I never could do it in EV. I don't like using cycles for the most part. It looks a little weird. I want to be able to see it. When I have to render it, sure, I'll put it to cycles, but I like to be able to see things in EV, if you know what I mean. Every node in Blender's geometry nodes. This is another big one. Oh, this is part 1. Okay. Sorry. All right. Let's get into it. Here it is. Uh, hopefully you saw the title there and the guy who made it. Shout out to this guy. All right. So let me get my headphones on. Oh shit. Shit. So we can watch it. All right. Let's start. Let's start. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me turn on the sound. Oh, there we go.
Of everything else, and this is really useful if you're making anything that has to do with paint, specifically car paint or boat paint. Here again we have the index of refraction as well as a transmission slider that can turn your material into a glass-like object. We also have an emission input to turn your object into an emissive surface. I personally like to use the emission node over this emission input simply because I have more control over the strength of the emission in a more convenient way. With the alpha slider you can adjust the transparency of the object. And now we have the normal input, which you can use normal maps with, clear coat normal, which will adjust the normals of the clear coat, and then of course the tangent if you're working with the anisotropic. Here you can see some nice images that describe the way some of these settings work. You can find these images in the Blender documentation. The principle here at BSDF is pretty much what everyone uses for hair nowadays. As you can see on a basic hair particle system from a plane, you can see it looks incredible. Here we have the color parametrization, and you have three options here: direct coloring, melanin concentration, and absorption coefficient. And the direct coloring is probably the easiest for most people. You can pick pretty much any color, and it's going to try and choose the necessary absorption coefficient to make it work. If you want to take a little more technical approach to it, you can use melanin and melanin redness, and all of these melanin numbers mean something. So 0.25 melanin will be a very strong blonde color, while black hair would be a melanin level of 1. You can tint it certain colors with this, but the more melanin you have, the more difficult it will be to do this. The next one is absorption coefficient, mostly for technical users. I don't think many of you will be using this, but you can read more about it on the Blender documentation. Next is the principal volume node. You can use this for models, or you can use this for things like smoke. The refraction BSDF is used, as you might expect, for refractions, but it's not meant to be used on its own. You should be combining it with things like glossy and transparent shaders if you want to, for example, create a custom glass setup. This next one is subsurface scattering. Essentially, light doesn't go straight through or bounce straight off. It will bounce around internally before leaving. It's useful for things like wax or skin or marble. The Toon BSDF is used to create cartoon light effects. Keep in mind that this is not what you're looking for if you're looking to create some sort of cel-shaded effect. Translucent BSDF, for most users, simply increases the ability to see through some of your objects. The transparent BSDF, on the other hand, allows you to see through them entirely. The Velvet BSDF is used for fabric-based reflections. However, it's not very useful on its own. You'll want to combine it with other shaders. Volume absorption and volume scatter are different types of volume shaders. Let's talk about the different texture nodes. First we have the brick texture. This is a fun one. You can adjust the size of the mortar in between the bricks and the size of the bricks themselves. You can of course adjust the color of all of this, and with all of these parameters you can make some pretty cool brick shaped textures. Next up is the checker texture. You can adjust the scale and the colors with this one. Next up is the environment texture. For some reason it's available in the shader textures, but I've never ever seen this one used except in a world output. It's what you'll use to introduce an HDRI or something like that. Next up is a gradient texture. You've got all these different types of gradients to use. I tend to use this one with a converter map node, and if you play with the value in here, you can adjust the position of the gradient pretty easily, and you can even add in another one and make it and turn it to multiply, and then you can adjust the fall off pretty easily as well. An IES texture is a special kind of texture that uses a special type of file type that I've never even used before, but it's a special data type used to mimic real-world lights. If you happen to have an IES texture, you would switch this to external and then find that texture wherever it is. Now the next one is the ever popular image texture. Image textures can be mapped onto surfaces, and I cannot stress how useful they are. If you want to instead use a video texture, make sure that you change this parameter from single image to movie, and then you've got to choose how many frames you want it to play, which frame it should start on. If you want the movie to repeat itself, you can just choose cyclic, and make sure you check auto refresh to be able to preview it. Now the next one to care about is color space. If you're working with image textures and you happen to be using a roughness map, a specular map, a metallic map, and all sorts of maps, the base color and if you have an ambient occlusion texture are the only ones that you should have the color space set to sRGB. Otherwise, you'll need to make sure to set it to non-color, because that will tell the engine that you're not actually just trying to output color data, it's being used for something else, because otherwise you can get some really weird results, especially with the normal maps. So make sure to change that. For the magic texture, I was going to make a clever joke, but I think I'm just going to play with some settings and just let you figure it out. I've seen the Musgrave texture as a bit of a glorified noise texture. Here you can see some examples of what you're able to pull off using a Musgrave texture. There's 5 different noise types here. It's got some pretty incredible variety. The noise texture, however, is an easier noise texture. There's 3 main things to worry about. That is scale, detail, and distortion. And the good news is those all do pretty much exactly what you would expect them to. Sky texture is again one of those things that is mostly only used for world outputs, so you probably don't need to worry about it when you see it in the node menus. The Voronoi texture has a specific noise pattern that a lot of people remember it for. However, it's possible to generate a lot of different ones, as you can see in these diagrams. Here's some really cool uses of the Voronoi texture. Next up is the wave texture. I use either bands or rings based on whether I'm using a curved object. You of course have the option to adjust the scale, the distortion, that's a cool one, and the detail scale. The white noise texture only returns a single value based on any kind of vector input. You know, it reminds me a lot of the white noise that you might see on a blank channel or something like that. Starting us off with the color nodes is the brightness and contrast node. Now this pretty much does exactly what you might think it does. The brightness slider will adjust the brightness of the color data you're feeding it, and the contrast data will increase or decrease the contrast. This is useful both in textures and in compositing, or pretty much anything else that involves color data. Now, next up is the gamma node. And if you've messed around with this before, you've probably noticed that it also has to do with the luminance. One good way to think about it is an exponential version of brightness. Now, next up we have the HSV node that stands for hue, saturation, and value. All of these values have the same meaning as they would in any color correction workflow. The hue adjusting the color or hue of the image, the saturation having to do with the potency of that color, and the value having to do with the brightness of that texture. This factor slider adjusts how effective your changes will be on the output, and that's really all there is to know about it. The invert node is made to, well, invert any color or black and white data. The mix RGB node, which can be found under color, is useful for combining multiple different images or textures. For instance, here I've overlaid a noise texture over a brick texture. As you can see, there are multiple different blending modes that are available. The ones that I use most often are mix, which literally just blends the two together, and you can use the factor slider to adjust which has more control. You can see a lot of the technical definitions of these blend modes by going to the GIMP documentation. I will link this in the description for you. The light fall off node is a bit tricky to describe. I've only seen it used with lamps. Now I know this isn't a material necessarily, but it's pretty cool. So essentially the light fall off will give you the light fall off data here. If you try to put a gradient or something and attach it to the emission of light, it's not really going to do anything at first. But if you use the light fall off data, and you may need to do some manipulation with the data, we'll get to these converter nodes in a bit, but let's say you use the multiply node, and you're going to need to bring it down to a value of 0.2, throw in the linear light fall off data in there. These are the different ways that light is calculated in cycles, and this only works in cycles, by the way. I'm going to bring strength down to 1.
No. There's worse than that. I just muted it. I don't want to hear the fucking ad. Fucking chainsaw. Man.
And then bring the multiply value into the color ramp. And well, here you can see you can make really cool customized,
That's cool,
stylized light effects. And finally we have RGB curves for color correction. You do of course have access to the RGB channels, as well as the ability to reset the curve under this arrow menu. Moving on to the vector nodes, we're starting out with the bump node. Now essentially what the bump node will do is create a modified normal output based on the input of a height map. Now, you can use really anything here. I'm just using a black and white output from a brick texture mapped based on the camera. The strength is pretty self-explanatory, but the distance can be thought of as sort of a multiplier. Now, the vector curves node works very similarly to the RGB curves node, except with vector data. Now, I haven't seen this used very often in materials.
that's what I'm saying.
In fact, it's most often used in the compositor when working with the vector blur effect, which can be used as a faster, less expensive motion blur. But you can use these curves to adjust the angle of such an effect and some other things. There are 3 curves in here. There's the X, the Y, and the Z, and you can manipulate them all by clicking and dragging to create new points on the curve, as well as using this arrow drop-down menu if you would like to do something such as reset the curve. Now for the displacement node, I wanted to bring you to a material that I worked on a while ago. Now this node setup was not very well organized necessarily, but I think it's a fun example for how the displacement works. So essentially what the displacement will do is take a height map and displace the surface of an object along the normals of that object for more detail. As you can see, unlike a bump map here, the
Yeah, right.
outline of this object, the
I'm watching a
silhouette,
vid.
is actually detailed. This is real geometry.
Going over
And that is
nodes.
because this is a very finely subdivided model. You need a lot of geometry to be able to have something like this work. I have a subdivision surface modifier on here that is resulting in over 63,000 vertices, and it's not even a whole sphere, it's just the half of one.
Damn.
So should you use this displacement? Maybe. If you're doing a lot of close-ups and you really need that fine detail, this could be worth it, especially on organic-based materials. This looks
That's funny.
incredible. But if you're planning on using this in other places, you'll definitely want to simplify the geometry. Now, finally, let's talk about this mapping node. As you
Not
can see,
yet.
we've got a location, a rotation, and a scale input in here. Now, these all can be controlled by other vectors, or you can adjust the values manually. For example, with the location, we can adjust the position of the texture on the model. With the rotation, we can do something similar with the rotation, and as you might expect, the scale will adjust the scale on the object. Converter nodes do exactly what the name would suggest, converting one type of thing into another. Let's start with the blackbody node. Now, this essentially can convert a temperature into a color output. Here you can see some examples of the colors that are emitted based on their natural frequencies. Next up, we have the clamp node. I'm using a Voronoi texture to illustrate this. Black and white values tend to go from 0 to 1, 0 being entirely black and 1 being entirely white. Now with the clamp node, you can set minimum and maximum values for these things. So if I believe that the darks are much too dark, I can set a minimum dark level and it will clamp out some of those darker areas. Same with the maximum. If some areas are too bright, all I need to do is decrease the maximum and it will gray out all of those light areas. Next up is the color ramp node, and if I had to pick a favorite node out of every single node there is, it would probably be this one.
True.
It's just such a versatile node. It's just incredible. So there's many uses for it. One of them is colorizing images. You can use a color wheel to select a color and use that as a substitute for whatever you're inputting. So in this case, it's taking the black and white and essentially just replacing black values with red values. I can do the same with the white side. I could turn that to blue. Really, there's infinite possibilities here. One of my favorite things about the color ramp node is that you can change the interpolation from ease to cardinal to linear to B-spline, and one of my favorites, constant. This means the data will have no fall off at all, and you can generate some insanely cool effects with this,
Cool.
especially if you're trying to work with cell shading or something like that. Next up, we've got the separate and combine nodes. Now, the first of these sets are the separate and combine RGB. Now, essentially what this will do is take color data and separate it into the red, green, and blue channels, and then the combine RGB node will combine all of them together and then output the color. So why would this be useful? Well, it pretty much allows you to adjust the individual channels, and that could be really useful for a variety of reasons. Next up, we have the separate XYZ, which will turn a vector input into its separate X, Y, and Z values. We already talked about how those are significant. And then, of course, the combine XYZ will take all of those and then output another vector. And then finally, the separate HSV. Yes, this is hue saturation value that you are separating. If you'd like to adjust any of those parameters individually, it's all up to you. You can think of the map range as...
Did you know that now you can use
Nah.
Express to make
the minimum and maximum. So if I input this Voronoi texture here, which tends to output, as we said before, values from 0 to 1, here we can readjust it. I mean, you could make the minimum -1 and the maximum 2 if you wanted. Now, this is especially useful when what you want to output is not within the range of 0 or 1, such as particle age or things like that. Next up, we have probably the most intricate individual node, and that is the math node. And it's probably the most complicated because, well, you have all of these parameters down here, but the main one is this box. And if you open that, you can see that you have so many operations that are ready to use here. They're all mathematical and used for conversion of value. Now, I've had to use add, multiply, less than, greater than, and maybe a couple of others from time to time. But the average user may not behind the need to use this very often. So I'll provide you with a link to the Blender documentation, which in turn has links to approved resources on each of these functions. Next up, we have the RGB to black and white node, and that does exactly what you think it does. It takes in a color input and then outputs it as black and white. Now,
Okay.
I almost didn't include this one because it's Eevee exclusive, but it's shader to RGB. And it's actually pretty cool what it does. And essentially what it does is it takes shader data and turns it into RGB data. And that includes the lighting, which is awesome. And so with that, you can actually take it and run it through a color ramp node, for example. And then what did I tell you earlier about the constant? And now you can do things like really nice cell shading or whatever other creative effects you come up with this.
I like that a
Just
lot.
like the math node. And it's essentially just like the math node, except instead of working with single values, you're working with sets of 3 values or vectors. Now there's not as many operations here, but the description of each of these is on the Blender documentation, so again, I'll link that in the description. And finally, for converter,
Alright. I have to go now. Like I said, I'll be ending early today. So yeah. I'll finish this when I get back. So far, I've seen some cool shit. So yeah. See ya.